What is up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho, and today I am talking about the Texans draft, 2020 draft. This is their draft review, and I'm going to do it a little bit different. I'm going to be talking about, of course, the picks that they took within the first 3 rounds, because I think that is where you get the most value in the draft. I think that's where you're taking your stars, I feel like. And then I also am going to talk about their draft day trades and the moves they made within the draft, because I think that's something that we can grade right now and see how they handled the pressure of the draft, how they handled the value and valuing picks the right way. All of that kind of, I feel like, is an important conversation when you talk about the draft. So we're going to get into all that, but first we're going to talk about a couple of the guidelines I have for the draft, coming into the draft on day one and throughout each day of the draft. I think it's important to have a plan, right? And that's the first thing I want to talk about. Did you have a plan when you came in? And to me, it was very clear that the Texans wanted to fix their defensive line early. That they invested a lot of assets early on into that defensive line. I think they did a good job of reloading a defensive line that's definitely fallen off as one of the top defensive lines in the league. There wasn't that long ago when that was what you talked about when you talked about the Texans defense and their defensive line specifically. So they definitely added some talent there, and that was, I feel like, their plan going into this class. And then the next question is, did you take an offensive lineman within the first 4 rounds? To me, there is no such thing as a bad team with a good offensive line. So that's something I look for. That's something I value very highly in the draft. I think every single team should absolutely take an offensive lineman in the first 4 rounds. At the very, very least, an offensive lineman should be drafted every single year on your team, just because of how important the position is. And if you go look back at the really good teams and the really good offensive linemen, especially the teams that have a really good offensive line, you see that trend. The reason they have a good offensive line is because they consistently put assets into that position, and I mean it works for them. So for the Texans, they absolutely did that. They took an offensive lineman with their fourth round pick. So that checks off. And the very last thing that I have is, did they take a piece of the strength of the draft? Right. So in this year, it was of course wide receiver. So I'm looking at every single team. Did you take a wide receiver? Did you take a shot at least one wide receiver? Didn't have to be in the first round. Didn't have to be in the first couple rounds. Even if it was, say, the 5th round and your last pick of the draft, did you take a wide receiver just to take a shot? Well, the Texans did. They did exactly that. They took a wide receiver in the 5th round. They took a shot, and that's all I need to see, man. I think that's really, really important to get the value in the draft, because when there's a lot of depth in one position, good players tend to fall down the board, and that's what happened with this year with wide receivers. So I want to see every team at least take a shot somewhere, because you're automatically getting value with that position and with that pick. But all right, guys, let's get into the actual picks. And like I said at the beginning, I'm only going to talk about the first 3 rounds. They didn't have a first round pick because they traded that to Miami. Usually I would talk about trades that they made, like big time trades, and the value that they got back for those trades, and I would give them credit, right? I'm not going to do that for the Texans, mainly because I think they've botched their last couple of trades. And as far as the draft and what I'm going to talk about in this video, I don't feel that way. I actually really like their draft for what they had and what they got out of it. I thought they did a really good job. But as far as the past couple of trades they made, sending 2 firsts and a second to the Dolphins for a tackle, that's really, really steep. They had to do it. They needed a tackle, so I get it. But man, that's a tough deal to swallow. And this is the first year that they're going to feel it, and they're going to feel it even harder next year, because next year is when they actually lose that first and second. Sending Hopkins away for essentially a 2nd round pick. I understand there was other picks involved, but it all evens out to a 2nd round pick. That's just that still doesn't make sense to me, and it's been a month and a half since it happened. And then sending that 2nd round pick that you got for Cooks, I just don't get it, man. I'm not gonna give the Texans credit for that. Usually I would give them the benefit of the doubt in these videos. I'm not gonna penalize them when I talk about the draft because of those trades that had nothing to do with the draft, but I'm not going to give them credit either. So we'll just leave it at that. So here in the second round, pick number 40, they do take Ross Blacklock out of TCU. And this is a guy who I thought had a good chance to go in the first round. This is a dude who I valued pretty high, and I mean, I think this is a perfect spot for him at number 40 overall. This is right in his range. Really good defensive tackle out of TCU, and you know, he's I feel like gonna come in and be a starter right away for the Texans. I think they got a really good value out of him, and he's gonna come in and really help out that defensive line. And with their third round pick at number 90 overall, they did take Jonathan Greenard, offensive linebacker. They're calling him a linebacker. I think he's more of a defensive end out of Florida. Played that position. I think he's going to keep his hand in the grass most of the time with the Houston Texans. But he has good speed. He has good explosiveness. I was a little bit surprised he fell this far. I saw him as a round 2 or 3 guy. And I mean, this definitely hits his range at 90 overall, but it's a little late for him. He had a little bit of a slide based on where I would have valued him. But I think the Texans got a steal here with a guy who is going to come in, and I think he has the possibility of playing opposite J.J. Watt, or taking over for J.J. Watt when J.J. Watt is inevitably hurt for a couple games this year. So I really like the pick. I think he has the potential to maybe not be an all-star, but definitely be a suitable starter for a lot of years in this league. So I'm really excited about that pick. As far as the trades that the Texans made, this is where I'm actually really impressed with Billy O'Brien, and I'm not shy about it. If you listen to the podcast or anything like that, you know that I am not the biggest Billy O fan. I find Billy O'Brien as a GM to be not that good, but he made some good decisions here, and I'm actually very impressed with what he did in this draft. So the first thing he did was he sent the 4th round pick that he actually originally got from the Dolphins back to the Dolphins, number 111 overall, for 2 4th round picks later in the draft, 136 and 141. I think this was a good trade for both sides. The Dolphins were able to send some assets that they had plenty of to go get a guy that they really wanted, and the Texans were able to recoup a couple extra assets. So that worked out really well for them. But what I found to be even more impressive than that, and what really impressed me with Billy O just handling his assets very, very well, was trading back up in that same 4th round. So with that pick number 136 that they got for the Dolphins, they decided to move up to 126 with the Rams, and all they had to do was send back 2 7th round picks. To me, that is awesome, because 7th round picks are nothing. 7th round picks are valued on the value scale as 1. For me, like they're an asset, they're a player, but I mean they are not a highly sought after asset by any means. I think that's a common knowledge. But to send 2 over to move up 10 spots in the 4th round, a round where you can get talent out of the 4th round and get the guy that you were targeting, that's awesome. So you basically got an extra 4th round pick by only moving back 10 spots, 12 spots. I mean, that's what they ended up doing, because he really only moved back from 111 to 126, 15 spots, sorry. And he got a great value out of that. I think that's awesome. It worked out really well for the Texans, and I think they got some good players. They were able to secure an offensive lineman and a cornerback, both positions that I would say are a little bit of a need for the Texans in the 4th round, guys that could have the possibility of being starters pretty soon in their career. So that's really, really cool. Overall, I think my favorite move for the Texans was trading up for the Rams, and I just explained why I like that so much, so I'm not going to re-explain that. My least favorite move, man, I really didn't have one for the Texans. This is the first video that I've done where I'm not going to give you a least favorite move. I liked all their moves. My least favorite move has nothing to do with the draft, or at least what this video is based on. My least favorite moves are all the trades that they made before the draft. The Hopkins trade, the Cooks trade, the Laramie Tunsil trade. I think they've botched a lot of moves. But let's just pretend for a second. Out of the 5 picks that he actually made, if Billy O'Brien hits on 3 or 4 of them, I mean, this is a very, very successful draft. And then the people like me and anybody else that kind of has been hating on Billy O'Brien for all this has to kind of take a step back and say, okay, well, he knows what to do with the picks he has. I wouldn't sit here and tell you that has been a consistent thing. I don't really expect that to. I don't expect to be apologizing to Billy O'Brien anytime soon for the things that I've said in the past. But I'm gonna give him credit for where credit's due. He's done a really good job in this draft. I thought he did really, really well. And the biggest surprise for me is how much I love this draft. I came into this expecting to hate it just because Billy O'Brien is my least favorite coach of the NFL, and he's my least favorite GM. I am very hard on him. I think he needs to leave the Texans for the Texans to move on and become a good franchise with Deshaun Watson, who is an absolute star. But he did good this year. I'm going to give him credit for that. He played his cards very, very well. He used his assets very, very well, and I think he got some really good players out of them. So I'm going to give him credit where credit is due. Overall, I am going to give this grade an A. Very, very good grade. Like I said, this is an awesome draft. All right, I think the Texans did a really good job this week. But all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think about the Texans draft. Am I too high on it? Should I hate on Billy O'Brien just a little bit more? What do you guys think? And please check back for more videos soon. Peace out, guys. Bye.